Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm coming to you to talk about Rebellion Saga. Rebellion Saga is actually a prequel to the ROM hack Rebellion Saga, which was made by Mangs and his developer team, and in many ways, I think this game is an improvement upon the previous one, but I want to talk about it in depth and how I feel that this game is. And I'm going to do it by sections, just like I did the Rebellion Saga video, so if you didn't check that out, it's up here. It's a pretty good video to watch. I want to start off by talking about the mechanics of Rebellion Saga. This is where I feel that there has been very huge improvements in terms of how far they have pushed the limitations of the GBA engine and able to create something unique that I very much appreciated. We're talking about randomized items, randomized locations, randomized map enemies sometimes. Also, like the rotations of how you get the items, what type of items you get, how the enemies spawn. This is really cool and really interesting in terms of what they managed to accomplish. They've also managed to really iron out one of my biggest gripes that I had before. The Gaiden chapters really felt like they were just filler and there was too much talking and too many things going on, and they didn't really appeal to me as much as these in Rebellion Saga do. The Gaiden chapters now actually have more of a functionality of conferring bonus experience along with certain abilities that you can get, and just the combination of how they managed to code all of that together is a fantastic improvement on what we had seen before in Rebellion Saga. I think there's also a lot of unique interactions between characters and abilities and skills that they have this time going around that are just really pushing the engine, like I said, to a point that is fantastic. Like, we have a lot of different mechanics, almost Dragon Vein-esque kind of ideas going on. Really a fantastic improvement over its previous iteration. I want to move on a little bit into map design. I think that this game has some very solid maps. Like, I think it's probably some of the best map designs I've seen in a ROM hack in a very long time. There are some maps, one or two maps, that I'm not really too keen on, but grand scheme of things, having these really strong, solid maps that stand out and are unique, by the way. Like, I just want to point that out. No map felt like the same thing twice. They felt very unique. Every map felt different. Felt like I had a different objective. Felt like I had a different goal. Felt like I had a different enemy density type, enemy typing in general. It felt really good in terms of how the maps are designed, what the goals were set out, how to reach said goals, and to accomplish those objectives. So I think that there's a lot of things going on here that were really good, including regarding boss fights. Some of the boss fights in this game are absolutely fantastic. In particular, one boss fight, I don't want to give spoilers, is very good. Like, it's just very well designed, and the way that it came about is very unique and very interesting, and I think it's a page that more ROM hacks should take out of if they're capable of doing so. It is a fantastic boss fight. I think that everybody should experience this type of map design and map enemy quality, which is very good. And I'm not saying this is like, hey, some of the maps are just insanely difficult. They are. Some maps are very hard. It took me a couple of tries. And for reference, I played this on Lunatic mode, just a plain old regular Lunatic mode, but I chose the hardest route, so all the B routes. And I felt like the challenge was very good, very well balanced, and I felt like I always had the tools necessary to complete the game without feeling frustrated or overwhelmed. Some maps I did feel like it was very one-turn emblem, right? Which is what we call, like, if you have a really good first turn, you can kind of sweep the rest of the map. But if your first turn is really bad, you don't really have a good advantage there, and it's kind of like the awakening effect. Moving on to balancing, I want to talk about character balance. This game has a very weird type of character balance to a degree that I kind of want to compare it to Radiant Dawn. And I don't mean this in a bad way. Radiant Dawn is one of my favorite Fire Emblems. But a lot of things that happen in terms of character balancing in this game are very Radiant Dawn-esque. There are characters that inexplicably disappear for a while, and some that come back, and some that you were like, why was this guy not around this whole time? Or, you know, I think that if there is something I have to say about that I think is a little bit negative, and it's not really a negative, I just think it's a different take on it. And some people might not be as accustomed to that. They'll see a character that they like, start working on it, and then the character will just disappear. And you'll be like, whoa, where did it go? And then suddenly they'll come back later. And you'll be like, oh, it's back. But I didn't know that it even had, like, you know, there's like a disconnect between how it operates. But I like it. I personally enjoy it a lot. I think it's great. I like the idea that every map you're given a different type of solution to it. And this is not to say that there aren't characters that come and stay the entire game. There are, and that happens a lot. There are characters that you're going to take from the beginning to the very end. There are characters that are going to appear midway that are okay. Some of them you're going to think this isn't even worth investing. Others you're going to be like, this is a great investment. And this is just natural Fire Emblem progression stuff. But I will say, try to get used to that idea that not everybody's permanent, not everybody's going to stick around forever. A lot of ins and outs happen, and this is good. It's good for the game. I think it's important around what the game is designed around, and it may take some getting used to, but I honestly think it is a good choice for this game. Moving on to what I felt was the weakest aspect of Rebellion Saga, and I did make a lot of effort into being more open to this game now, the story. I think that the story in Rebellion Saga is fantastic. Absolute leagues ahead of what Rebellion Saga was. And I don't mean this as a diss. I think it's just that the story has matured. The pacing of the writing has matured. Gone are those silly one notes. They're still there, but they're not as prevalent, nor do they impact the central gravity of the story, which is really, really a breath of fresh air. I think there's a lot of mature tones in this game this time around. A lot of interesting characters to explore. I will say one thing negative. I think that Rebellion Saga is actually at its worst when it brings characters from Rebellion Saga and tries to expand upon them. This is a weird thing to say, but I felt that my time experiencing the game with the characters that are unique to Rebellion Saga and some of the minor participants of Rebellion Saga, which didn't have as much exposure, are actually much better than when they try to revisit main characters from Rebellion Saga. This isn't a diss because I know that there's a connection and you obviously want to reference that in your story, but I honestly do feel that the story of Rebellion Saga is much better, to the degree that I actually enjoy the part that explores those characters way more than any reference about another game. Basically what I'm trying to say is the game is so good and so well designed in terms of its plot and how it progresses that if you hadn't mentioned anybody from the other game, I would have been fine. I don't think it needed any supporting characters from the other game, and I think it's better off when it's talking just about itself and what it's trying to accomplish. So basically, what is my conclusion for this? I will say Rebellion Saga is way better than Rebellion Saga. Again, I really liked Rebellion Saga, but I think that Rebellion Saga takes that a step up. When we're talking about the progression of the mechanics, the impacts of the story writing, the map design, what they could accomplish with the whole game in itself, it's just so much better. It is leagues better than anything. The duration of the game is perfect. It's great for multiple playthroughs. It's fantastic in terms of different options. It feels like a well-polished, fantastic experience that's being given to the player. And it just feels like a better, more mature story. And I really, really appreciate it. I think they really hit the mark with this. I think that the developer teams should continue to write things like this and stories like this because it's way better, and it's just more of the type of game that I would like to play personally. I honestly recommend everybody try it out. I'll leave the link down below for where you can find this game to download it. I think it's a fantastic experience. I think all of you, if you haven't played it, you should at least give it a shot. It's one of the best Fire Emblem hacks out there, if not the best, in my personal opinion. And I only have praise for it in that regard. And I think that you guys should take a look at it as well. Let me know down below if this video helped you, if it helped you think about trying it out, if you disagree with my take, if you agree with my take. And thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.